Welcome everyone to the last panel of the Mixed Colloquium series. A special thanks to our in-person audience and our online audience on the live stream. So today we will be talking about the battle against AI in art and technology and how we might find synergy while also preserving our jobs. And before we get any further, I'd like to introduce myself and our panelists. So my name is Liliana Lopez. I am a 3D modeler and visual artist in my first semester here at the Mix in the Experience Design program, and I also work at Meteor Studios.
I'm Xinyu. I'm the XR designer and the developer here, and I'm the second year, the extending reality technology student here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Peterson. I am a second year and getting my master's in extended reality technologies. Currently, I am a technical artist here at Meteor Studios, as well as a virtual reality developer.
Hello, everybody. My name is Olivia Reyes. I am also an XR and immersive developer and designer. I'm in my second year here in the XArts program at Mix, and I focus on motion graphics and animation.
Hi everyone, my name is Mikaya Wiafe. I'm a second year master's student in the Extended Reality Technologies program. I also work at EdPlus as a media and communications assistant. I love making stuff in AR, VR, and other immersive media.
Hi everyone, my name is Odi Umusu, and I'm in my first year at the Experience Design program, and I'm also like an XR creator and video editor, and currently I'm working at the Major Studio as well.
Awesome, thank you guys. Just before we begin the discussion topics, I'd like to go over what is artificial intelligence or AI. So what we typically call artificial intelligence are computer systems that learn to perform specific tasks based on how they are trained. And current popular applications of AI include web search engines such as Google. We now have autonomous vehicles like Waymo, which I'm sure you guys see a lot in Tempe. And we also have generative and creative tools like ChatGPT and AI art programs like Midjourney or Adobe Firefly. And specifically in extended reality and immersive experience workflows, we tend to use that last example of AI. So a lot of ChatGPT and a lot of AI art tools. And it has permanently changed the way all of our workflows kind of go in art and technology. So not just limited to XR, but today we will be focusing on extended realities and AI. So our first question here for our panelists is, how is AI impacting the XR industry and job opportunities? And I think Joe has some research she'd like to share.
Yes, that is correct. I do have a lot of research. I've been following the Animation Guild closely and their debates over AI and their contract negotiations. In a survey polled by the Animation Guild, about 75% of the respondents have reported that generative AI tools and software have supported the elimination consolidations of their jobs in their divisions. 21.4% of jobs in the animation, film, and television industry, that would be about 118,500 jobs, will be replaced or eliminated by AI in the US by 2026. Generative AI is already being used in pre-production to create images, speed up storyboarding processing, and concept art illustrations and other animations for the pre-production. Many of the jobs at risk include sound designer, compositors, re-recording mixers, look surface material artists, animators, video technicians, music editors, software developers, 3D artists, game designers, UI designers, video game testers, and 3D modeling. The result would mean that there would be fewer entry-level jobs and entry-level positions that new artists could enter, such as college grads or anyone who's looking to change industries. The result would be a lack of employees to fulfill the mid and senior level positions at certain studios, and there'd also just be a general lack of creative diversity in studios and the video game animation and movie business as a whole. So overall, it'd just be a lack of opportunity for many of the people in there.
Hey, something that I think about, like amidst all the excitement about AI and its numerous capabilities, is like there are like a lot of people, billions of people that do not have access to AI and its tools. They do not have the computing power to use AI, or they just can't afford, to use AI. And that's something I worry about, because it's like, what happens to them? And are we now going to be in a world where jobs are automated and then there are people like left behind? Because some companies are solely focused on targeting markets that are, profiting them and giving them financial returns. So what happens to people that can't adapt and can't like move forward, and will that like widen the gap and widen the digital divide in that sense? So I'm just hoping, how can we make AI more accessible and more inclusive? And then talking about like job opportunities and AI eliminating job opportunities, I'm hoping that as it's eliminating job opportunities in the future, it's also going to create more job opportunities, because we're still in the new, it's still new. We're growing as AI is growing. So like, for example, social media management. 5 years ago, what is a social media manager? What is head of content? It was like, what is digital marketer? So in that sense, I'm hoping that as AI is growing and we being in the forefront, that there is going to be like more job opportunities in the AI industry.
Yeah, just to add a little bit to what Odi said about the newness of the jobs and the job market. A number of technologies stack up on top of each other and intersect to give rise to different types of jobs. And this whole field of extended reality technologies is a product of technologies building up on technologies, mobile phone technologies coming into the market, miniaturization of computing power, and on that note, a lot of new jobs will come out because of the introduction of AI. A lot of people are going to be able to create or bring ideas to life that they couldn't before. There's going to be a lot of demand for different types of work. It's essentially a tool that's accelerating a lot of people's workflow and making people faster and better and moving in a more lightweight fashion. So I think it's going to, as to what exactly or how exactly jobs are going to change, that's something that I'm personally excited about. But it is doing a lot to change. And there's a lot of fear, which is valid, but there's still a lot of hope for the different kinds of jobs that would come out.
Yeah, I can add a quick thing, and just, I think we are all familiar with how AI can potentially remove the jobs that we have, but I also think it's going to be exciting for the workflows that we currently have and see how that augments. And we'll talk about that later too, but it's in a way changing the speed of the industry and the speed, quote unquote, of the creative jobs that we take on in the future, because there will be an assumption that, we will be co-working with AI. And so that's something interesting to consider as well.
Yeah, and also like a AI can make like a starting your own business earlier, and easier. For example, many people are now using AI tool to become the independent creator. Have you noticed the more AI-powered content creators online, AI help them make the better content and product with a few resource, which is a great, or like a small team or startups also opening the new opportunity for individual and the business.
I especially like the doors AI can open up for independent artists and creators. Just getting their feet off the ground, it's definitely easier to keep the team small when you're first starting out and with the assistance of AI. I do kind of want to go back to Joe's data real quick about the research done and kind of the projected loss and current loss of entry-level jobs. I think obviously as college students right now, we are definitely going to rely on an entry-level job, right, in the future. And so it is really scary. And just coming out of the undergrad and entering the job market, it was very, very hard finding any entry-level jobs that weren't insanely competitive or, I actually had a chance for. So it is, like Micaiah said too, there is kind of a lot of fear right now around AI, the AI boom and the loss of entry-level jobs. So I think that will lead us good into our next question, which is, where is AI most prevalent in our current workflows, so our current extended reality and immersive design workflows? And would you like to start?
So I can share like some of my AI experience. For example, I use the AI to make a 3D model and help designer interaction. If it's just like making a static 3D models, AI work well. But if it needs movement, people still need to fix things like a model line. This problem can affect how the texture do then the object move. And for coding, AI can give simple interaction playlist, which are helpful for making the phototype. Also, when I watch like a tutorial video, AI can help explain things I don't understand, what's the video thing. And for example, like ChatGPT can read a screenshot now. If I have a problem in Unity, Photoshop, or another tool, I can upload a screenshot and AI can look at the picture, find the problem, and give me advanced or solutions.
Yeah, so generally in my experience, whenever I try to use AI, I generally use it for simple like grammar problems and like just like coding problems, as well as like also figuring out like any sort of like coding errors that might be in the code like I am producing, or like helping encapsulate like some of like the coding issues that would be like in the update statement that you generally don't want to be in the update statement. I try to stay away from many of like the animation, images, and like 3D modeling type of AI softwares, mainly because they generally aren't up to par with what my client, what like a client would typically like want, as well as like not up to par with like what I would want in like my 3D model. So generally, I try to like use it for mainly just like coming up with like certain ideas, but then I try to pivot away and actually try to make it like on my own, because I know that I can create it better than how AI can create it.
Yeah, so in a design workflow, AI can be a great co-working tool for setup, brainstorming, and prototyping processes, which is important to me as someone who is like, I like designing, and let me get to the fun part of actually designing a little quicker, right? So, if you're doing print design or you're doing web layouts, and you can be like, you know what, this is gonna be a little tedious. I'm gonna need this amount of boards and this amount of like frames for all these designs. Here, can you set this up for me? So that's one way AI can be really helpful in that process and ideation. If you're having some artist block and you need some inspiration, you can, type in your prompt, type in some ideas, and it might be able to help you get a quick spark for design. That's been pretty helpful for me in the past few months. Another thing is when you're in the middle of a design, you're maybe coming to the end of it and you're recoloring your work, and you're like, you know what? I want to try something new. I want to get some variations and test out multiple different colors or some styles. Adobe, for example, has already implemented AI into numerous software, such as Adobe Illustrator, that allows you to generatively recolor your work. So, if I'm like, this design is lacking something, or it could use a different kind of feel and tone to it, I can be like, give me beachy vibes, please. Let's see what this looks like with a different color palette. And that's a really great way to expedite that prototyping process and, again, be able to do more of that design work that I want to do. So that's really exciting.
I love animation. Last year or last fall, I took a motion capture animation class on the Tempe campus. And the Tempe campus has this amazing stage where like there's state of the art motion capture tech in there, and there's OptiTrack, and there are some motion capture suits, and all these things are very cool, very state of the art, very accurate, but also very expensive. And I had an amazing time working on a music video for my final project for that class. And after that class, I walked away with these skills, but I don't have the opportunity to work on other things that I'm passionate about because I don't have the resources to build a state-of-the-art rig at home. But today there are computer vision and machine learning models that are able to take a video of me acting out a performance. It does all this intelligent segmentation and is able to extract the animation from that video, and I can have that data retarget it onto a 3D humanoid object for a game or an immersive film. And this is a great example of AI being used in my workflow. For example, tools like Movie AI, and there are a lot of models that do that pretty well. But they're still janky right now when you have multiple people in frame. But one thing that I keep telling other people is that AI today is the worst version of AI that we're ever going to see moving forward. And it's only getting better, and it's learning fast. So I'm personally excited for the different iterations of this technology and how it's going to accelerate my workflow and make the things I want to see come to life.
Yeah, I think I've used AI in the past and not even known I was using AI because of how, like, maybe I didn't know what AI was like a couple of months ago, or how seamlessly it's integrated into our systems. But like as a video editor, I've come to know of like generative AI and assistive AI. And for generative AI, I still haven't hacked it because, you know, it's a give and take situation. What you give is what you get, like with prompting and everything. So that's something I still have to figure out. But like with assistive AI, using Adobe Premiere Pro, there are like some AI tools like enhanced speech, speech to text, enhanced speech, where you can, with the click of a button, like make audio like clips sound like they were like clear, audible, or like made in a professional studio. There's also transcribing video footages to text, so you can edit through that, and which is very efficient. You know, instead of scrubbing through footages, you're able to, like, you know, remove silences or stutters just by reading, and it makes your workflow go by really fast. But something I'm conscious about while using AI is double checking and cross checking my work, because with transcribing, it's like AI is making it efficient, but they don't yet have the intuition to like observe emotion like behind words or important moments or pauses or reactions. So it's always like very important as the human to make sure that you are cross-checking your assistive AI tools to just like have a very amazing output at the end of the day. So yeah.
Thank you guys. Yeah, so it sounds like we use AI like a lot almost at the beginning of processes, or to kind of get that mundane work. I know, like how Olivia put it, especially with the design, kind of out of the way so you could get to the real work that you want to do. And I know personally how AI has come up in my own workflows. It is great for people trying to communicate visual ideas for me. Like if a project manager or if a person on a narrative team is trying to communicate like some concept art ideas to me, it's much easier for them to ask AI to generate a photo than to like physically draw it out themselves, you know, because they don't have those skills. So like Micaiah says, it kind of democratizes those skills or extend those skills to people who don't have them. And I think for me especially, it allows kind of almost better communication of ideas across teams. So that's one way AI has shown up in my workflows, but thank you guys for sharing. I think now we can tie that into the next question, which is what AI practices are ethical and which are not, and how do we ensure that we are using artificial intelligence safely and fairly? Would you like to start?
Okay, so in the same survey posted by the Animation Guild, about 57% of like survey respondents have also reported that they have reported ethical concerns about using generative AI in their workflow. Some companies are placing up like certain guardrails to prevent against data scrapping for AI training, but as well as also certain government jobs such as NASA have also completely like prohibited using AI in their like workflows. When I was working for NASA in my year-long internship, I had to go through like several lectures that said like you can't use AI for any of like your coding or like any of your coding or like working. Because it would be a fireable offense for using like ChatGPT to like help out with coding. I believe like by the time I was leaving, they were just starting to like lift the ban on using AI in their not top secret like workflows. But and then again, there's also many of like there's also been like many lawsuits filed against multiple chatbot like companies about illegally like scraping data and using it in their AI training. I recently watched a video where many of like the animators that I like love watching on YouTube have reported that their videos have been like targeted for AI like scrapping and using it in training. So it is definitely very scary right now.
Yeah, some of maybe the biggest concern and most well known to a lot of us in here is AI art and the use of AI to create art that is trained off of the work of traditional artists and many artists online without their consent. And so it's producing things that seem like recreations of their art and their style and, you know, their skill without their permission and their consent. And that might be the bigger issue, and the edges of like the ethical concerns of using AI for art and creative fields is, you know, making sure that AI models are trained with images that they are allowed to use, or that they are getting explicit consent from artists or creators to train their models using these images, and not scraping data all over the internet or through social media. Some of us know that X, formerly Twitter, you had to opt out of having, if you were an artist on the platform, you had to opt out of having your art used in their AI training models. And I think now you can no longer opt out of that. It is standard on the platform. And so that is a bigger concern when we're talking about, you know, the ethics of it and understanding where it is and is not okay to use AI and how.
I think another ethical practice could be using AI to enhance your creativity and not to entirely replace it. Because, like, you can use AI to remove or take out the mundane, repetitive tasks like we have talked about, and not entirely do everything from start to finish. I think creativity is our creativity as creatives is such a huge part of our lives and purpose that we may do ourselves like a disservice to just give AI the power to come up with ideas and not giving ourselves the opportunity to flourish in our individual creativity. So I know like we have to do things, there are deadlines, we have timelines like we have to meet, but some people say soul work is slow work and the best of our creativity takes time. So maybe that's where AI can come into play as like a collaborator, as a complementary tool to take off the mundane task and allow us to like be in our flow state and just create like great things. So yeah.
Yeah, so we need to very carefully to use the AI because the rule about it are still developing. For example, like a copywriting and the intellectual, like a property laws, took a long time to make, and AI rules need the time too. So for the good practitioners, like use the AI fairly and respect like other people words. For example, if the AI use your work in a bad way, you should like speak out to protect yourself. It's like important thing because now the rule still developer. And the bad, the practitioner, including text someone a word without asking or using an AI too much without adding your own idea. To use the AI safely follow the rule and try not to harm another word, even if the laws are not clear yet, is important.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things in using AI ethically happens when we train it, like we've kind of gone over here. And I think one of the other important things to realize about AI is that we are the ones training it and it recognizes patterns. So I think us as people in general just need to, hold ourselves to certain standards to, I guess, not teach AI our own biases, because I mean, naturally, humans, we are not perfect. We have biases. Obviously, there's people who are, they have a moral high ground, or maybe they're morally compromised. But AI picks up on what we favor or what our biases are. So I think we need to tread carefully around how we train, especially these AI art tools, because you could start to see the biases people have reflect in its results now. And then I completely blanked. Oops. But I think the general consensus is we need to use it to assist our own creativity. And I think it is also such a new thing that people are kind of using it for not only that, but sky's the limit, I guess, with AI, because we're in the AI boom. But I think we'll see in the future how regulations will come into play with AI and how they will affect teamwork workflows. I think it's especially kind of the responsibility might rely on managers of people like using AI to ensure that, people are using it in a way that is fair to the rest of the team and they're not just kind of completely relying on it. But yeah, thank you guys. And that will lead us into our last question, which is what can we do to make ourselves stand out compared to AI, and what jobs has AI created for us or will create in the future?
So the AI not only make design faster, but also create a new job like a communicator. In the future, I think this role will become a more specialized. For example, topology, the communicator could play an important role. AI can generate the 3D model very quickly, but sometimes the topology is too messy, which require manual a cleanup. That's why having someone who know how to give clear introduction to AI is very important.
Yeah, so we are currently in like an arrested development type of like situations where a lot of like entry level jobs are closing, and there's like not a lot of like opportunities to break into the like gaming or like animation field right now. But I do agree that like new jobs will open. We are currently in like an AI like bubble right now, where every sort of like venture capitalists are just trying like to throw AI against the wall and see like what sticks and like what works and what doesn't work. Some ways to like work and like make yourself stand out with like AI is to just like learn new things and don't pigeon yourself into like one specific task that can be easily replaced by AI. Work together, like work with like teams and help like incorporate like their ideas into your own ideas so you can make that like your final product the best that like your team can think of.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's very important for us to maintain it's very cliche, but is the quote unquote like humanity or the human touch in a lot of the work we do when collaborating with AI, because I think that is the charm, if you will, that we have in our work, especially I'm speaking from a design standpoint too. If you're producing anything for an audience and for other human beings, a part of that is a lot of understanding and a lot of empathy and a lot of being able to relate and connect with other people. And that is something that is hard to obtain with AI currently, as it is. Again, the industry is, and the amount of jobs and what those jobs will look like in the future is something we'll have to wait and see, because after all, AI is an emerging technology. But that kind of collaboration and what we have to bring as a person talking to other people and connecting with other people is important. And I think that's where that collaboration is using it to elevate experiences for people and make them, the best that we can.
Thanks for that. Yeah, the question. Yeah, so I've personally realized that a lot of creators are, not just creators, but a lot of people in the workforce are scared that AI is taking the jobs. But the thing is, it's not just AI, it's the operators of AI. The people using AI are making their work faster and more efficient. So how do you compete with that if you're not using AI? One other thing is that a lot of creatives are creating just to fit the income and the income and employment gaze. A lot of us are creating just to get stuff, just to get work to our employers. But I think one important question is creating for ourselves. What does that look like? And a lot of students, like sitting on this panel, don't have the years of experience to get like maybe an idea or a story that you're incredibly passionate about. But AI might allow you to put your flavor in a specific workflow and automate the rest. It could help you not just automate the rest, but it could help you. You could brainstorm with AI to generate a story, to get the dialogue, to do other things in the creative pipeline, and then you could put your human touch and your human touch in that workflow, and then basically tweak and play around in different things that you want to personally do. Yeah, I guess that's it.
I think those are such amazing points. But one way to gain an advantage of AI, I feel, is to empower ourselves by learning about AI. How is it used? What are the implications of using AI? Then how can we adapt our existing human practices to this new technology? Because AI technology is rapidly evolving, and we as individuals, as creators, as a society, we have to, adapt as well. There's always something new. It's exhausting. When you're learning something, the next day there's a newer version of something. So it's like, okay. But I think one way to look at it is look at where the world is going and how we can find a place for ourselves in that world to provide value, to just, be a step ahead. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I do like the emphasis on, I guess, adding our human touch, because that is something that AI can't really, I mean, they can try to replicate our patterns, but they can't replicate our complete, thought processes or our ability to have interpersonal communication skills and to work as a team. So I think highlighting those specific skills of, being able to be a good communicator and collaborator with the rest of the team, that's something obviously that AI cannot take away from you, and that's something that's also very hireable. And it is very true that companies do look for speed and to save money and time to produce products. So I think being able to be flexible in what we can do is also extremely valuable to us, so that, I mean, they would, if they rely on AI for a specific task, you still have all these other skills to offer. And you're a person, so hopefully that's enough as well. But yeah, any other final comments before we kind of move on to the Q&A? No? All right, thank you guys. And I think now we are ready to open it up to questions from in-person and online. Don't be shy.
So I feel like it's relatively common experience that older folks don't see when it's something is AI, especially when it comes to art. And so this, because this actually recently happened to me, that's why I'm thinking of it, is like my mom sent me this picture of a craft, and she's like, I'm gonna make that. And I'm like, that's cool, Mom, but that's clearly like AI generated. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, it's clearly fake. So it's like, I just kind of wondering what you guys think the role for us who do know more about these technologies, like what kind of things we could do to protect or like inform people who don't, as well as like these social media platforms that are outputting these, like I know especially the AI art is rampant on Facebook, and they don't disclose that it's AI. So it's just kind of like, what can we as individuals do for people we know, and what should these social media platforms be doing to kind of regulate a little bit?
Awesome. I'm going to pass the mic over here.
Yeah, this is a great question, and that's interesting because I've experienced the exact same thing, because my mom is on Facebook and she was like, OMG, look how cute this is. It's like a baby hugging a dog, and the baby are both AI generated. And I'm like, a dog can't do that, Mom. The dog can't hug around this baby like that. So it is scary, and it's a larger issue of media literacy, which is the umbrella which contains like the ability to examine and identify AI art and things made with AI, which is tricky. Even I think for some of us up here, there are some times where I'm like, I can't tell if this is real or not. And for me, with at least like close family and loved ones, it's a lot of literally sitting down and being like, hey, these are things happening in the tech world, and I think it's important for you to know about this and be aware, and here are some things to know, and here are some things to look for. And it's hard, and it can, if you have older family, maybe they don't like it because it can feel infantilizing, but it's important. And so a part of it, approach the situation with, again, some empathy and some understanding, to be like, hey, I work in this tech field, and these are things happening right now, and I think it's important for you to understand and be able to identify this, not just because, for the sake of information and misinformation, but for your own safety. you know, for your own safety and for your own conscience, you should know about these things. And so it is a conversation to sit down and have little mini lecture with your family or whoever, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with Olivia that yes, that there does need to be like a level of like media literacy in order to understand and know like where an image comes from, like what website is like promoting it, and like what is that like website's overall like goal in promoting said image. I do agree that there should be like a little check mark on like Facebook or like on Twitter saying like this image was AI generated. I've like recently got onto like Adobe like stock images, and there's like a whole bunch of just like generative AI generated images that I had to like check mark out of in order to like go through and like find real images in order for like a Meteor Studios project. So I do have to agree with that.
And I do like Olivia's focus, I guess, on empathy, and because it is very easy, I think, for people who don't understand certain technologies like artificial intelligence to feel kind of infantilized just by like not knowing. So I think how we go about teaching people is also very important, to be considerate and like have empathy, because I mean, they're more likely to also empathize with you and better understand you or what you're teaching, when you go into it a certain way. Because I know, especially within just like kind of how politically charged everything is, because I feel like AI and Facebook and politics kind of all have an intersection somewhere there. So I think going about it in a way that is also kind of de-escalating like the situation, is important in some cases. But yeah, thank you so much for that question. That was a really good question.
Hi, it was mentioned multiple times over the course of the panel that AI is moving at such a rapid pace. My question to you all is, what are your favorite ways to upskill and learn the new developments as they come out?
Would one of you guys like to tackle this before I?
I just like to get in deep and like take a look at like the AI generated stuff and just really try to like, I don't know, like try to like just play around with it and just like have fun with it, because I feel like yeah, playing games is just like the best way to like actually like learn something and get better at like a skill or like tool and practice.
Yeah, I agree, and I do something similar. It is, so I think, I don't know if I've said it enough today, but I do design. And I work with Adobe stuff a lot. And since Adobe has been implementing a lot of AI stuff, I use it as it recommends it to me, and I try it out. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is useful. Or I'm like, I don't really like this that much. I'm not going to probably use this again. So, you know, in places where it is easily accessible to me and I feel like it might be helpful, I will try it out, you know, and if it is helpful, I'll continue using it. And if not, then that's that. I think accessibility is a big part of being able to test out AI and be able to use like new AI models and like software, is accessibility. And that's, I mean, it's a big thing with technology in general, but you know, there are a lot of software or programs where you have to pay to do some generation, you have to pay to get some stuff done. And so it comes down to accessibility.
Yeah, so I personally love playing around and tinkering with new tech. Keeping up with the technology is very overwhelming at this point, because there'd be an update this month, and in 2 weeks there's like another update, and before you get time to like even digest what it can do or what the implications of the tech are, there's like another update and generative AI and agentic AI and all these tools. But I think one thing that as creatives we need to do more of is to play around with the tech, see what it's good at, see what it's bad at, see what it's not yet good at, and what the possibilities could be and how it's going to affect the nature of work and society, and have these conversations with people. And like Olivia said, have that the literacy and basically educate the people around us, have those conversations on what to look out for in images to know if it's AI generated or yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of safety issues when it comes to things like deep fakes, because you could get a call or you could get a video call or see some media of a loved one that could be in trouble. And if you're not able to identify that this isn't AI or this is AI, your response might be compromised. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
I think to get better at anything, you just have to do it. Just have to experience it. So like now they're ahead of the game, you can give yourself the opportunity to learn while like AI is still new. So it's not a situation where everyone has caught up and you're like, okay, I guess I start now. So yeah, I feel like to be able to stay ahead, just give yourself time to just play around with it and figure out what AI tool works best for you, and how to use it, making sure you're using it appropriately.
When it comes to upskilling, I feel like seeing the newest developments, which there's constantly new developments for AI. I feel like seeing the latest thing it can do kind of motivates me to get better at whatever it's doing. So I have like some competition with it. So it kind of motivates me in some ways to, it can just make a 3D model from a drawing now. Well, I can do that better, and then I'll do it more. And I think repetition is key when you're upskilling or when you're learning something. Because me personally, I could watch, a YouTube tutorial once and do it once, and feel like I know it, and then I'll go to do it again without the tutorial, and I did not retain any of the information or skills. So I know personally, doing things multiple times, and taking notes, I guess, on things, that's kind of like a boring thing to say. Yeah, take notes. Helps with upskilling a lot. But thank you for your question.
Hey, so you guys were talking a little bit about politics and AI, and I believe that there's going to be a new government or whatever coming next semester, whatever. But they have already said right now that AI is going to be a big part of what's going to happen. There's going to be an AI czar, and they're going to start creating a lot of new laws when it comes to AI, right? And a lot of new government initiatives. And I think it would be very interesting, just in order to sort of have a proper conversation about what should the government's involvement in AI be. Should they be protecting more? Should they be making it easier to just let AI do whatever it wants? Should they make it easier to hide it? Should there be laws to make it mandatory to show what AI is doing? What are some of your thoughts on the government involvement in AI and what it should be?
I know I definitely have a lot of opinions, but I'm going to let you guys handle it first.
You want to go first?
You go.
Okay. This is a great question, and I've thought about this a lot. So the EU has already quite a few regulations and regarding AI that I believe the US does need to implement to some degree. I think we do need regulation in AI. Can I tell you exactly what that looks like or what that should be? No. But there are big concerns that need to be addressed. And in my opinion, mostly it is creating someone's likeness via AI. So Micaiah mentioned earlier deep faking, and so the use of videos. And the more terrifying experience of AI use has been like deepfake videos of women online and streamers in like explicit video. And that's something that like, okay, yeah, we need regulation to prevent this from happening. Do I think that we should have access to knowing when and where AI is present? Yes. Do I think we can regulate how much it's used, or what industries? I'm not sure, because AI is looking very tantalizing to many industries right now, and so it's not going to go away. So getting rid of it is out of the question. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be possible. But we do need to do things to regulate how we use it and monitor it online to see where it is being very misused.
Yeah, I do agree with Olivia on that part too. I do agree that there need to be like more regulations with AI. Like as I said before, during like my internship with NASA, using AI such as ChatGPT for helping with coding was a huge no-no in the internship, and it was, I believe, like, yeah, a fireable offense for using AI in helping coding. And even if it's something minor, it was still like you could still be fired for using that. And yeah, it was a major security issue. Even like when I was like, even though I was like working on something that wasn't top secret that anyone could go out and like view, I believe like by the time like my internship wrapped up, you could now like use AI, but what still was on like a case by case basis. As Olivia said, I do agree that there needs to be like more regulations with AI, and there does need to be like more explicit, like saying like, hey, this is using AI, and this is also like, this is using like ChatGPT to help like write with code, and like here's all the code that like ChatGPT helped out with. So yes.
That's a great question. A lot of futurists say that regulations impede progress and development, but regulations also keep us safe as a society. And one thing that the government or the lawmakers need to do a better job with is how quickly the laws are made or regulations are made, because AI is moving at accelerated speeds. And if it takes so long for regulations to come out, regulations to check a lot of, if it takes so long for regulations on AI, so much harm would already be done. So I think there needs to be like a body that's, I don't even know if that's like the best idea, but there should be a body that's thinking several steps ahead and making sure that we're all safe, AI is used safely, the right safeguards are being put in place to keep us all safe as a society. That's my opinion.
I think this is a very important question, and I would have loved to like have a whole panel just on this, to be honest. But we did kind of keep it extended reality earlier. But I think one of my biggest concerns with the government and regulating AI is the lack of understanding that a lot of our members of the government have for technology. I'm thinking back to, I believe, when they had, I believe it was the CEO of TikTok on trial, and they asked him a lot of ignorant questions. And it just kind of reflected to me how lacking understanding of like our most modern technologies are in the government. So I don't know, like, I don't think they even know the implications of what regulating AI or not regulating it means. And I think also, like Micaiah said, we're very slow to the party when it comes to regulating AI compared to other countries like Europe. But So I think it's going to be very challenging in some aspects to try to put a cap on certain developments. And I mean, no matter what, people will try to find loopholes, or they will just do things that are illegal anyways, like with the deep fakes. A lot of that stuff is, I'm sure, already like illegal, and it's really sad people are still doing it. So, I mean, like cases like that, people will still do it, and hopefully they'll get caught. But in a larger picture, I'd hope that our government would go about the right way, and hopefully further educate themselves on this technology before either letting it have too many reins, or completely handicapping it. I think we need to find a good balance in regulations protecting us, but also allowing us to progress as a society. Like Micaiah said again. So, but again, amazing question. Thank you.
Amazing discussion today, really interesting stuff. I have a question for the panel as far as the interface that AI technologies has taken, and is it such a big change in technology that the interface paradigm is going to change in the future? And for example, we're all familiar with the established interfaces like desktop interface, phone interface. And when it gets really interesting to me, which I don't know a ton about, is the extended reality and virtual reality. Is AI a big enough change that there's going to be a whole new paradigm, or is it going to just kind of filter down into the interface paradigms we already have? So I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
Did you guys want to, before I comment on it?
I mean, I think it would largely mostly stay the same. I mean, you can already search stuff up on, again, on the Oculus or on any sort of virtual reality platform, and you can also use text to speech. So I largely don't think it'd be that different compared to what we have now. It would just be more along the lines of generating more images faster. And yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to using AI, so how we use it now is generally prompt-based. You give it a prompt, it gives you a thing, or you can kind of plug and play, drop in media or content and have it do its thing that you want it to do, stylize it, fix it, So that can look very different depending on, what we're trying to achieve and what platform. I can't imagine trying to do prompt-based stuff in VR, because keyboards are already a headache in a headset. My finger, I'm trying to press A, I'm pressing M over here somehow. So it might be interesting. And I think it'll only drastically change if we somehow drastically move away from prompt-based. And I don't know what that looks like, but I think I agree with Joe, and that it will probably remain more or less the same.
That's a very great question. I think one of the reasons why prompt-based AI is very popular is because it uses natural language as input. So we're able to type our request, we're able to use speech and get results back. That form of input and output could be applied to different types of experiences. From games, you could have an AI-enabled NPC that is adaptive to whatever conversation you have with it on a quest in a game. Off the top of my head, I could say maybe some of these streaming sites like Netflix could have, say, a model that you could say, I want to see an episode of Succession where Stewie and so do so and so, and it generates that for you. And it goes back to the same natural language input output, but the applications across different types of experiences and games could be very endless.
When I consider like interfaces changing or how we use AI changing compared to like phones or VR headsets or just augmented reality, I'm thinking of, and this might kind of be like way over, not what you're thinking about, but I'm thinking of this AI robots they're developing. I believe NVIDIA is developing. And I think that is probably one of the biggest ways using AI will change our current technologies, is that it will be more almost moving away from like a virtual reality type sense, but almost more tangible, like, and especially with the way that they're making like androids now, it's kind of humanizing AI, which is very interesting, and I have my own like opinions about that, I guess, but I think that is probably one of the most fascinating developments in like, I guess, interface changing is I believe now there's like the Tesla robots, and I know a lot of sorry, word vomit right now but I know people with disabilities, it can help them like in the future in their homes, like just help them get around and stuff. So I think stuff like that is really amazing. But I do think we're kind of walking a fine line in some places. But I think that is one of the most interesting uses of interface change, I guess. Thank you for your question. Yeah. Do we have time for one more question? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Right here. Right.
I know that our generation sort of grew up without phones, and then there's like our younger generation that sort of grew up with phones, and I feel like it's the same with AI, because there's a very younger generation, like 10 years younger than us, 5 years younger than us, that might be using like ChatGPT or other AI tools. How do you guys feel about that?
I am somewhat against that. Less on like AI does, like such as ChatGPT does provide like good information. However, there are like multiple like ChatGPT like style like chatbots out there that are just like also feeding on the same data that ChatGPT is, and just creating like an echo chamber, like feedback loop. And pretty sooner or later, like ChatGPT is probably going to put out like something that's like wrong and like have wrong information. So I do, it's like less of, yes, ChatGPT does provide like good information as like a good baseline, but it's like along the same lines like Wikipedia. Like Wikipedia does provide like a good baseline of like information, but you have to like scroll down to like the bottom in order to like go to like the actual like reference links that they Wikipedia does put into it, and to actually like fact check like what Wikipedia is actually saying.
Yeah, I'm personally excited for the use of AI in education. So I know like when we were growing up, to be able to use the internet, you should know how to spell the words and type into Google. And then whatever result comes, you should be able to like read it. If I'm 4 years old and I don't know how to read, but I have so many Y's, that doesn't help me. But if there's like an AI agent or an AI tool that is tuned to my 4-year-old self, of course, with like parental guardrails and stuff, I could be able to like ask all the whys, and the responses I would get would be in audio that I could understand and could be tuned to versions or basically responses that a 4-year-old or whatever aged person would be able to understand. And that could be like answering questions, learning a language, and so many other like use cases for education. So I think AI does a great job at synthesizing large quantities of information and is able to like sift through different types of information and present it in dynamic ways for tailored audiences. So that's a great use case of AI in education that I'm personally excited about for the next generation.
I'll jump in just a little bit. My perception of AI in education may not be as rosy. Just because I can already see like 16-year-old Olivia in English class being like, I really don't want to write this damn essay, so I'm gonna ChatGPT it, whatever. So that's a bigger thing that I think we might be concerned about and might think of. Oh, sorry, you were asking the question. I'm like looking over here. That we might be concerned with. And that's going to come down to a lot of teacher media literacy for educators in all kinds of schools, in public schools especially, and the tools to maybe find and identify, when a student has used AI, like when they shouldn't be, But I think there are, at least in university now, we are finding classes where we're like, encouraged to use AI to support our work. And so maybe maybe that's something that happens in the future with education, is we find ways to integrate it, like allow it and integrate it. But until then, we're gonna need to find ways to identify it and make sure that, kids aren't slacking in school, okay? You need to write your 15-page essay, kid. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with Olivia, because it already is happening with many of like high school students are using ChatGPT just to like write their essays and not even like bothering saying like this is ChatGPT taking out this is ChatGPT generated type of like thing. So I do agree that yes, there does need to be like a bit more like regulations on like how AI can be integrated into school settings, as well as also the whole reason as to like why an English teacher would be saying like, why is this curtain like blue, isn't to like just like say like, oh, because the author thought like blue would be like a cool color. No, it's to get the students to like actively like think about the text they are reading and to actually like try and deconstruct it. It is like they are learning like media literacy during that time. So I do agree that yes, students need to be like student and teachers both need to be a bit more media literate when it comes to using AI.
Yeah, it's true. And also, I think maybe they have another way we can combine with the AI and the high school student. For example, if a teacher gives a homework, we can say, oh, now I will allow you use the AI to make the essay, but you need to have like a whole process, like how you use the AI to make this essay, and what the question you ask to the AI, and how you like summarize it, or how you combine with AI the content or your idea, how they working. So may the students still can think about the whole thing, not just oh, the AI do anything. I don't need to do anything. Yeah.
I don't want to beat this topic to death, but I also have something to say. So I didn't get any sort of iPhone until almost high school, which I'm very glad for. I think much like the internet, AI is going to be amazing as it is almost kind of hindering maybe in some ways for kids, asking them to write essays instead of them actually reflecting on schoolwork and writing it themselves. And I like what you said about the teachers, having a whole system, maybe that includes AI. And I think it's especially beneficial for teachers to educate themselves on AI and use it themselves to learn kind of what it looks like or how to identify it. And I have two younger brothers, so I especially could see them, man, I do not want to write this essay, like I'm going to AI it. And there's only so much in this day and age, like parental supervision, you can't have an eye on your kids like completely, right? So it's just finding a balance, I think is probably for the best of the kids nowadays. Yeah. Thank you. All right. I think we're good to wrap up, but thank you guys so much for coming and listening to us yap for the last hour. And a special thanks to our online audience for tuning in. But yeah, thank you guys.